Bukovel is very nice. I've been to Ukraine 3 other times to work with WePlay, and all in Kyiv. And so being able to come to a ski resort, it's who's going to turn that down, right? So I come from a Magic the Gathering background, and I played professional Magic the Gathering. And when Artifact came out, I was very excited about Artifact because one of my friends told me that it was going to be this great game and you should learn it and all of this other stuff. So I learned to play Artifact, learned all of the Dota lore, and watched a bunch of Slacks videos and everything. And when Artifact, I still really had a lot of love for the Dota, just everything. And so I was the host for the Valentine's Day Madness for WePlay, and part of my preparation obviously is to play Dota and things like that. And once I started doing that, I just never stopped. And we have Dota Underlords, so I played a lot of Dota Underlords and made videos for that. And I've always wanted to do more Dota stuff. I traveled to San Francisco on behalf of Team Liquid to do some coverage of the OpenAI versus OG, and I've just been waiting for another chance, and this was it. Yes. And so I was playing Artifact, and then I went to start playing Dota and started learning more and more and everything I could. And now this time, coming back to host, I started playing even more Dota. That's because I was playing Underlords for so long, and then it's just now it's like, okay, I don't want to be bad at Dota anymore. Like, I don't want to just keep getting stomped all the time. And so I ended up watching, just tons of stuff from BSJ and from Purge, and lots of people learning how to play so that I could do the same thing, because for me, I have a long history of gaming. No, see, that would be, you would, when people always say, what's your, BSJ said the same thing, what's your MMR? I say, well, for me, because I am like studying, I play to study, okay? And I'm not very good. But I play like all the heroes and things like that, so I don't get to play much competitive Dota. It's more for me about the interactions for all the heroes, how drafts work, the mentality of players, and things like that. Because for me, I have 2 children. I have one son who is 4 years old. I have another daughter, and she's 8 months old. So being able to sit down and play games for long periods of time it's very hard. But I just love the lore of Dota. I have obviously all of my Artifact things, and I still have a love for that game too. But for me, it's just a matter of being able to be a student of the game, even if I'm not very good. Well, I'm going to get to that point when I get back. I'll be able to play more Dota, because some of my next events are not esports related, so I don't have to do quite as much studying and things like that. Like, I have a football event I'm doing, so I've been doing football for almost 40 years, so that's easy. I think for me, it's a lot of players who are in my situation, people who played other card games, didn't have, I don't think, a problem with the economy of buying packs or having to buy in to play. Like, that was what we're used to for our whole life. But I think for someone who plays Dota 2, you don't have to pay to play. You get everything. You turn on the game, you install the game, and you can play any hero you want. And there's not a disadvantage if you don't put money in, okay? Everyone is the same level. Only difference is maybe ping, right? Like, and if your computer sucks. But for Artifact, it was very much like, if you didn't put money in, you weren't going to win. And I think that didn't sit well with many players, especially the Dota 2 players. I also think that Dota 2 players weren't looking for Artifact. They weren't like, I really wish we had a card game. It wasn't like that. I think Dota players love Dota, and they're not jumping ship to do anything else. They want to play Dota. And whereas like someone who's like League players will play TFT and all this other stuff, and it's Dota players play Dota. And I find that is very much a lot like Magic players. Magic players just play Magic, and they don't have time or energy to start all over with something else. And I think when you told a Dota player, you can play Artifact, but you have to pay to play it and even try it, they're not going to do that. And I think that for me was the biggest problem, because if it was free to play and then you just paid for cosmetics, it would have been great. You can collect cosmetics and sell them on the Steam Marketplace. That I think would have been much better. But it didn't happen, and history is history now. That's more than before. It went up. It's been on the up. That's funny when you say that 200 something is on the uptick,
Yeah.
but the game is. It feels like chess to me. It's just very certain people can enjoy. I enjoy playing. I play so many games. And, well, okay, I'm also older. Okay, so I think my tolerance for randomness is I've seen what randomness is in every game. Okay, because in some games you don't notice how random things are. So, like in American football, if a player is wide open and the ball is right in their hands and they drop it, okay, 95% of the time they'll catch it. And in this 5% of the time they didn't catch it. That is RNG at its greatest. Or if a defender is running after someone and 95% of the time they stay with them, but on the 5% they might fall down. All of that is RNG in my eyes. And in Artifact, it was just you could see the RNG, and it didn't feel good. People never remember the good RNG. They always remember the bad, right? They always get tilted by it, and it happened every round with like creeps and arrows and things like that. But in Magic, you can have RNG lose the game for you immediately. You can not draw land over and over again, and now you don't even play the game. But people are used to it because they've set the expectation that is something that can happen. And in Artifact, that never happens. You always get to play, but your mistakes are just the comeback mechanic is not there. And I think for me, I've had this conversation a lot about RNG. I also think in Dota there's RNG. When you're chasing someone down and they're at like 6 HP and you're just trying to get the last shot in and you just don't because they turn left instead of turning right, and those are the kind of things.
But that could be energy that's kill, not RNG.
Well, but if I chase after someone and they can go one of two ways, right? And I happen to choose the wrong way, that's RNG, because if I chose the other way, maybe I get him, And so it's just, I think all games have some sort of RNG. Well, even in high ground advantage, is RNG, right? So, or for example, like Chaos Knight, like CK, but it's wrapped in something that makes sense, right? CK, chaos, randomness, you live with it, right? So, but once people start thinking that there's too much RNG, that's what it is. It doesn't matter if it's anything else. If that's the story, that's what it is. And we know just when we watch Dota games, if we keep repeating something was the reason some team lost, it becomes the truth eventually, whether or not that was the case. Yeah, and I find that a lot of organizations sometimes make problems in, I know this is off topic, but sometimes members of a team take the fall when it's not necessarily their fault, right? Where teams start maybe just get disbanded or someone gets kicked off a team because some things keep happening and they put the blame in the wrong place because they just repeat that process and that the sayings over and over again. So that's how I feel about RNG and Artifact, but maybe we come up with a better game one day. The thing for League is they're very fortunate to be able to watch what went wrong with Artifact and just avoid all of it. Because they didn't have to launch a card game at all. No way, shape or form. They could, if there was never Legends of Runeterra coming, it would be fine. Everyone would still play League, the LCS would go on, but they purposely did it because they know and they saw the potential of Artifact that we all saw when we played, but they saw all the problems, and they said, we're just not going to make those problems. We're just not going to do that. And it's a great game. Everybody loves it. It's just in the beta, but they didn't have the problem with the beta being too selective or people not getting codes or having to pay. It sucks because they get to take all of the bad parts away and just get all of the good parts. But it's better for gamers to have a good polished game there. But it's just another situation where it's like, I don't know why they launched a game. Obviously, there's something to it. So, as someone who is probably the least experienced Dota player out of all of the talent, I am in a unique perspective of having to learn how to play basically from the beginning. And because I work as a host, I have a motivation to, even if I have a bad day and I don't play well or to come back and do it. And from Magic the Gathering, it's the same way. I started playing when I was 13 years old. And from 13 to about 15 and a half, I just kept getting beat over and over and over again. But that was just part of it. I'm supposed to lose. Okay? Same thing for Artifact. When you start playing Artifact, you just lose a lot. But I wanted to get better. And games today are not built, well, let's say, I don't think gamers are built today for that kind of punishment. They want to be able to feel successful in the beginning, even if it's just a little bit. And they can hang their hat on that, and as that's their reason to get better, because they felt good. And for me, it was always feeling bad was the reason I wanted to get better, not because I randomly had a good game. And Fortnite has this problem too, where they try to make the game on easy mode first, so that you can feel like, "Ooh, I'm so good," and then you can move up, right? And Dota is hard, but that's part of what makes it great. Is that when you start feeling good about a character, for me, like I play Slark. I love playing Slark because I like being able to jump on people. I like being able to keep them close to me, smack them around, disappear, and all of that, right? I like playing TA because I don't have to worry. Like her ultimate is whatever, right? Like if I don't play it well on her ultimate, I don't lose, right? I can just do first couple of things, kill people. I can scale really well, great. But how many people are going to play every single Dota character to find out what they're good at before they move to a different game? Or and if you're in NA, who do you have friends who play Dota? Like for me, I would. Shiva was saying, "Oh, we're going to have everybody over in the Netherlands. We're going to have 5 computer setups. We'll all play together." That doesn't happen for me in my hometown. I don't have 4 other friends who play Dota in my city. So how do I get better, right? Like, I think if you play with people with you, you get better a lot faster because you talk about it, you see each other. It's a fun thing. And so I think that part of what players are looking for is those feel-good moments and what's popular in their markets. And I don't know, like in CIS, it's different, right? Dota's everywhere. People get noticed in the supermarket or in the restaurants here. But in the US, I could be a professional Dota 2 player. No one would know the difference. And I think Valve has to decide what they want to do. Do they want to be successful in NA? Do they want to be popular? Right. There's no. How do you start, right? And is it fun when you're learning? You tell me, when you learn Dota, is it fun in general, like something brand new? Like, it's not that fun. But you're learning it because you know the end of the rainbow, it's going to be fun. It'll be fun eventually. And I think a lot of games are not like that. They try to be fun the whole time, and maybe they stay around, maybe they don't, maybe they stay casual the whole time. But I believe that the player base and let's go back to talking about like reputation. And if you just say something over and over again, it becomes the truth. Well, people like me say, "Oh, well, maybe Dota's too difficult." What if it's not? What if people just keep saying that over and over and over again, and now it becomes belief? And I think that's part of the reason is that I don't necessarily think that Dota could be, it's so much harder than everything else, but I think that people have like a negative, like a stigma about it, so they pick other things to play. And I think that's coming to roost right now is there's also, how do you keep them involved, right? Like, how do you keep people excited? And that's where Riot does very well. If you play League, now you can play TFT. If you're not so good at League, you just want to play for fun, but maybe you can be good at TFT. Maybe Legends of Runeterra, maybe their new like CSGO type game or their fighting game. So now everybody's here. You've got all the lore. You've already got your T-shirts, and you don't have to leave. And that's what Dota needs. It needs a way to say, what if I'm not that great at Dota? Maybe there's another mode I could play, which would have been Artifact or Dota Underlords. But the people, I like playing Dota Underlords, but many of the people I used to play with, they don't play anymore. And we're not keeping them in the ecosystem. So I think that's something Valve has to decide. What do they want to do? Do they want to pay streamers to play like Riot? Do they want to do that in advertising? Because they're getting, if on Twitch you're getting killed, people go, dead game, dead game, dead game. You know, and it will happen, I think, if there's just not those kind of pushes to keep it popular. You can't keep young people if you're not popular. Yeah, that's the name of the game. It's like in music, in sports, it's different. Winning cures everything in sports. Like if your team isn't that popular with young people, but all of a sudden you start winning championships, great, your team's popular again. But if your sport is not popular with young people, your sport will not be popular. You know, like golf. Like golf, there are people who play professional golf, but it's not the biggest game in the world because young people think it sucks. And why is Fortnite so huge? Because young people think it's great, whether or not it's great or not. So these days it's very much about your social media presence. What is everyone else playing, and can you feel like you're good at the game the first day?